Who were you talking to? The man in the little.
So used to, we had, oh, we're on. Used to, we had a little thing right here, a phone that we could dial to them so that they would put us on the TV. So they don't have, it broke, right? That's what happened with it. The phone broke. I know I'm on. I was just explaining to Margo.
Yes, it broke.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this budget committee meeting to order at 6:31. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Kate Knudsen.
Here.
Doug Thompson.
Here.
Richard Anthony.
Here.
Ted Cars.
Here.
Margo Collins.
Here.
David Gerns.
Here.
Elizabeth Costa.
Here.
Jada Roche.
Here.
Okay, so John and Daryl are excused.
Yes. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So you have the September 19th meeting minutes that we need to go over and make a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the September 19th, 2023 meeting minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Richard Anthony. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and then abstained.
Abstain.
Yeah, David and Margot both have to abstain. Okay. All right. You are on that was where we voted you in. So since you weren't technically on the board yet, you have to abstain. You're good now. Do we have any public comment? No one's here. All right. Plan tonight is just to get through as many budgets as we can. So the first one up is going to be the executive. 2023 was approved for $263,037. The request for 2024 is $273,828. That's a difference of $10,791, which is a percentage increase of 4.1%.
Just on the rentals and leases, I mean, do we know anything about, like, I mean, 8,200 last year. I see that the actuals to date exceeded what was budgeted for 2023.
Mhm.
But where's 12,000 coming from?
So in the description, it looks like,
I mean,
I know, but I'm just stating, copier lease, postage machine, Adobe, and a website. Did Colby,
The increase is related to increase in what they're charging for the lease. And I believe there might be one additional machine on there from last year. That's why you're seeing the increase.
And the lease is already
And-
signed, so you can't really negotiate that.
Right, and also on here as well as the website, the maintenance agreement for the town website, which is, you see that last line, it's 3727.
okay,
So that accounts for the additional.
Was that
increase as
not on
well.
there, in that line item the last time?
No, this past year, they did some training and updates to the webpage, and there was a maintenance agreement that we had to join to keep it current, so.
So of that 12,000, 3,727 of it is due to the website.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think some of those leases were increased
Yeah.
as well.
Does anybody have any other questions for executive?
What's the unanticipated account? That's just, I mean, don't we have, at least we fund something annually to the effect of like $80,000 for unanticipated expenses?
So those are for unanticipated, like capital. There's a CIP for that. So like if a septic fails or the boiler fails, that's the unanticipated, that's for the capital expenses. This is for unanticipated expenses within the department. They might need to enter into a lease agreement with an additional copier, but it would probably get put on that other line, but, it's unanticipated expenses that may come up. They might use it for events as well, like Veterans Day or Memorial Day, stuff like that.
May I please ask, under the next line item up,
Up, okay.
it says move to OGG. Being new, may I ask what OGG is?
That's a good question. What is that?
It's the operational government, it's another budget.
Okay.
So that line was just moved over to that budget. It's
Oh,
other
it's
government,
Other general government.
yeah, other general government.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How long is the town manager's salary under contract for?
When he became the town manager, it was a 5-year contract.
Okay.
And we just renegotiated an extension after, I think it was 2.5, 3 years.
Is that the only, I mean, we don't have a director of finance or anything, do we? I mean, or is there somebody double slotted, like a town manager, or
He's performing both roles.
Yeah.
is he being reimbursed from two separate line
He
items?
gets it's a partial salary. So it's all within his town manager's contract.
So it's all on that one, geez, line item ending 110?
Last one. That's the admin position, so there's
Okay.
a couple administrative positions.
Are you talking about 20110, Anthony? You talking about the last line or the one up that also has 110? It says executive salary town manager.
Yeah, 20110.
Okay. So that line item.
That's only the town manager.
So it doesn't account for his,
No, the finance is under the finance.
so that's for
budget.
that part. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for the executive?
Yeah, so mainly the increases there are salary and the that rentals and lease agreement lines. That's-
So we locked into a contract with that rental as of to date, or will that increase again annually? Or don't you know?
We're locked in.
And do you know for how long?
I don't know the detail of the length.
We could find out, though.
Yeah, we can find out.
On that particular line on rental and leases.
Yep.
Says a postal machine. Are we talking a Bose postal machine where we just run things through?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you don't have the fine numbers on that.
Not with me. We can find out. What are you looking for on the postage machine? Just the length and the term?
Years ago, I belonged to a county organization and we had a Bose and it cost us a lot of money. It was just easier to cut a check, go to the post office and get the stamps. Can't remember, it's been a while. I can't remember what the monthly rental just to possess or have the convenience of the machine was. And when we tried to give it back, it was very difficult. I just don't know if it's I mean, that's nickel and diamond things, but I just don't know if it's in the overall best interest versus just making stamps accountable. Question?
I can go back and find out and email it
Can ask
back to the board.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the executive budget? We can still have discussion after we second it. I mean, if we still have questions.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, seconded. Does anybody else have any other questions about the executive? No? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed and abstained, 800. And we'll still get those questions. All right, town clerk. For 2023, it was approved for $134,122. It's requesting for $138,197, which is a difference of $4,075, which is a 3.04% increase. And again, it looks like the town clerk salary increased from 59,000 to 62,000, almost 63. A little bit increase in computer software. Postage went up a little bit. So again, it looks like the big chunk is really salary.
Do they use the same postage machine as executive budget?
I do not know that answer.
Yeah, the postage machine is for the town hall, so they all use it. The postage is charged back to each department that uses it.
So just with respect to postage, why is, okay. I mean, the actuals for, is there going to be like do we see a increase in postage between now and December, or is that, I mean, you're showing only $2,700 out of a
Yeah, there's,
$6,500.
there's still 3 more months to go. So I don't know if they're going to spend the whole amount, but we still have to send out tax bills, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
And I also did hear that rates are going up again
For postage.
for postage. A regular stamp is going up, I think it said January. That's just part of the world right now.
Yeah. And again, we can have more discussion after we second it, but could I get a motion to approve the town clerk budget of $138,197? Motion by Ted.
I'll second.
Seconded by Liz. Anybody have any other questions about the town clerk budget?
Looks pretty cut and dry to me.
Anthony, I see you crunching numbers over there. You got a question?
No, not yet.
Okay, we'll wait a few more seconds.
Do we have any idea how much money the town clerk's office brings in and goes back into the operating budget?
I do not. Roach, do you know by chance?
There is a revenue sheet that was presented to the board at the last meeting. I don't have that with me. Let me get that revenue sheet to you guys.
It's quite substantial, is it not?
Yeah, the town clerk takes in a lot with,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna guess at a number, but it's a significant amount. Auto registrations, dog tags,
Yeah.
boat registrations, all kinds of.
We can get that and we'll get that back to the board.
Right.
Okay.
Just a general question, because it's a pretty clear-cut, matter of fact, well put together.
There's been a motion, a second. Is there any other discussion or questions for town clerk? Seeing it that there is none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained, 800. Okay. Next is elections. 2023 was $14,635. The request for 2024 is $37,000. This is a difference of $22,365. Sounds like it's a lot, but it says it's 152.82% increase.
What was that percentage again?
152.82. And again, there's going to be 4 elections in 2024, so I think that's part of the driver, correct, Jay?
Yes.
Okay.
The other part of it is, we did put forth a warrant article for the voting machines last year,
Yeah.
anticipating that the state was going to present one of the machines that we would need to buy. They're still vetting that whole process, and they're not anticipating us spending, so the money that was raised for that warrant article is probably gonna go back into the general fund. So in here, they're budgeting for it. We don't know if they're gonna come back in the next 6 months, next year, and say, we have a voting machine that the towns need to purchase. So at this point, we don't know which one. The state is
Can't
gonna hand down.
impound it?
Huh?
Can you impound the money that you raised by the warrant article?
Well, it
I mean,
was-
you're gonna have to buy one
It
anyways,
it was
right?
a non-lapsing warrant article,
Okay,
so we can't just keep it in the fund if we don't, the way that warrant article was set up is non-lapsing, so we have to spend it within this year. If we don't, it goes back into the general fund.
What you're saying is you created a line item to,
Right, so we
You don't
added
know
this
when.
into the budget because we don't know if they're gonna have the model machine that we need to purchase yet. So they're still vetting 2. We're just waiting to hear from the state at this point, but it won't be until next year or later next year.
So is it mandated by the state which machine the towns can use?
Yes, because the ones that we have will be out of service, I believe in 24, end of 24, early 25. So the state's vetting out a couple machines now.
Can I get a motion to approve the election?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Second by Ted. And again, we can still have further discussion if we need to.
And just to add more, for that $12,000, it would be 3 machines.
3 machines?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're about 4,000 each is the estimated cost, 4 to 4,500.
How many machines do we currently have?
We currently have, I think,
I believe we have 2.
2,
we have 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 and we would get new 3 now, okay.
We actually have 4.
Oh, okay.
Now, do we get any, when they're out of date, do they go back to the state? Do we get any credit or anything, or they just evaporate?
They don't just evaporate, but obviously I don't know the process for disposing of them, so it'd probably go back to the state to handle.
It sounds like we get no credit or anything for them.
No,
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions about the election budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose and abstain. Okay, next is finance. Let's see, last year for 2023, it was $150,495. This year request is $149,610, which is a decrease of $885. So that's a negative 0.59% decrease.
What would happen with the data processing? I mean, I'm just,
That's
just
definitely the
kind of
biggest
curious
decrease.
where we have a 50% reduction, but
based on what we're seeing for trends this year, like right up through this point, we've only expended $6,143. So at this point, it's based on the anticipated expenditure for the year. So, and in not anticipating spending as much for next year.
Can I get a motion to approve the finance budget for $149,610?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Marco. Then again, we can continue to have discussion. Any other questions about the finance budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained, 800. All right, assessing. So 2023 approved was $110,120. The request for 2024 is $118,520, which is an increase of $8,400. This is a percent increase of 7.63%.
This is mainly due to the assessing contract.
Assessing contract.
How often is the assessor here in Plastow doing assessor-related stuff?
They have an office right there, so they do have office hours. I think it's not every day, but there's someone here a couple times a week. And then during, obviously, assessing season, they're here for office hours to handle anyone's questions about their assessed value or their tax bill.
Well, I mean, the assessor's contract. I mean, you're talking about the assessing office.
That would be them. We haven't,
When you say them, do we have one person, two people? We have one person?
there
that's in and out?
are two people, and then when they're out in the field, there might be multiple people working during that time.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve the assessing budget of $118,520?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Gerns. Do you have a second? Second by Doug. Are there any other questions for the assessing budget?
Why would, under this postage, why would it say any correspondence notice to be sent, in addition, welcome letters, trash collection information, and town reports? Why does it come under assessing?
It also says to new residents when deed transfer updates are done in office. So I think it's only when it's to new residents so that everything gets, I think that's the only ones that are getting it from this, correct?
Okay, so it's to bring new residents up to speed on things. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 800. All right. Tax collector. 2023 approved was $53,540. This year it is $53,001, decrease of $539, which is a negative 1.01% decrease. It was the postage that went down the
Yeah,
most.
there's the postage. So,
Can I get a motion to approve the tax collector's budget for $53,001?
Motion.
Motion by Doug, do you have a second? Second by Mr. Carbs. Anybody have any other questions about the tax collector budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 800. Is insurance its own thing?
yeah, yep. This is the town liability.
Okay. So 2023, it was budgeted $182,782. It's requesting for $195,577. Difference of $12,795, which is a 7% increase. And this is the Primex, or like what Jay said, it's for Primex. And there's really nothing we can do about this one, correct?
No, the town's part of a CAP program. So if we weren't part of the program, that might have increased more. So our cap was at 7%, but we've been waiting for them to come back and give us the final number, and they're capping out at 7%. So that 195,577 is the actual amount that we'll be paying for our liability insurance.
Have a motion to approve the insurance?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Gerns. Anybody have any questions about the insurance, the liability? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. All right, legal. 2023, it was approved for $97,500. For 2024 request, it is $80,000. This is a decrease of $17,500, and this is a negative 17.95% decrease. Can I have a motion to approve legal?
I approve.
Margot made the motion. Do I have a second?
A
Second
second.
by Liz. Does anybody?
Which one was it?
Okay, Margot made the motion. Liz made the second. Does anybody have any questions about legal? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. Human Resources. 2023 approved was $2,183,951. 2024 request is $2,419,719. This is an increase of $235,768, which is a
Say that again,
which part do you want me to say again?
the numbers.
All of them?
No, increase of,
Oh, it's an increase of $235,768, which is a 10.8% increase.
Most of the increases are due to this, are due because of health insurance increases, FICA, Medicare, New Hampshire retirement, unemployment compensation, increases to those lines that the town has to pay.
Performance management, it seems to, is there something in the last quarter that's going to be realized dramatically? You have, year-to-date,
That's-
you have 1,000, and
That's when they'll do performance management. These are like merit increases,
It's like merit raises, right?
merit raises for performance.
and are those mandated by contract?
No.
No, okay.
how does the sick leave work? Is it just accrue, or does it get bought back? Is it use it as you lose it, or
Where are you looking at?
The last
last
line.
item?
Oh, the buyback?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the way it works is that like the town employees, they can give back so much of their sick time and they get it back, they get a prorated
Yeah. they
amount of
get-
money for it.
Yes. Now, it's something that's volunteer. It's not something that's automatic. So employees would need to come to the,
Can it carry over sick leave to the following year?
some of the sick leave they can, yes.
So they can only carry a certain amount, and it's either buy it back or lose it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It only
Well-
accrues to a certain point.
Wait a minute, either buy it back or lose it?
So,
I mean, it would make sense if you accrued it and then you were selling it, but if you're going to lose it, why are you buying it back?
Because you can only keep so much to carry over.
Okay. So why are we buying it back then? If you have 5 days, you can, let's say you have 10, and you can only carry over 5, why would we buy back that 5?
does it not go into a pool?
I'm not sure if there's a pool.
Let's ask.
Yeah, I just
HR
have
how
the
it
narrative
works,
around
And we'll
it.
get
I mean,
that question back with the BRA.
It's, I mean, if it's something, I mean, I'm, you know, I think we're all kind of familiar with it, that you get so many sick times, you can only roll over so much, but if if it just disappears, why are we saving it from going into the abyss by buying it
I
back?
think sick time, if you continue to accrue it, do you not? And it's vacation that you can only, if you don't use it. you
Yeah,
lose.
it's vacate, PTO is use it or lose it. So this would be in a situation where maybe you have someone retiring as well, and they have built up sick time, they can buy it back as part of their package or resigning. That's the other part of it.
So, I mean, that's vacation then or something. I mean, it's sick time is.
Sick time, not vacation time.
Yeah, sick
Is
time
this-
continues.
Well, okay, I think we need the narrative. I mean, if it's, you know, like I said, sick time,
This is-
usually my
this line
understanding.
we're talking about is sick time. not-
Okay.
Not PTO. Straight sick time accrued. So as employee accrues it over time, if they retire, they can buy it back.
I think if they retire, it has to be paid back.
Right, so is there anyone that's on the cusp of retiring? Because I'm wondering, so if that's the case, then, I mean, you can't see anything of these prior numbers. I would think that you wouldn't see this category being expended annually.
Well, this
Because that
says-
would mean that you would have people retiring every year and then expense, and then you're buying back all their,
So I don't believe it's, and I'll ask HR, we'll ask HR to get a clear understanding of exactly what it is, but like.
I mean, we'd almost see if you're budgeting for this, you'd probably, if it's a normal rhythm to it, you
Yeah.
would see, you know, 35,000 budgeted, then, you know, at the end of the year, you would have something like, you know, 16,000 or something unexpended or something. But if it's, no one's retiring and no one's buying stuff back, then, I mean, if it's being bought back every year, I guess that's
It's
sort of
not,
like,
it's not just retirement either. It's any employee that falls under this. So.
well, that's what I'm saying. It says sick
Yeah.
leave. I'm just saying we
Yeah.
probably need a narrative on
Like,
that.
for instance, let's say, I don't know, let's pick somebody, let's say a full-time dispatcher were to retire, were to leave and change jobs, go elsewhere. And they had 18 sick days on the books. Would they be qualified to sell that sick time back to the town?
I'm 100% sure this is something that I'll get HR to clarify on
Okay,
how exactly it
I
works.
think we do need a clarification on this. I retired from a federal job, so my situation, I believe, is a little different. But
I don't think this has anything to do with retirement, because like what Doug says, I think if the people retire, it has to be whatever. I think this is just like the regular employee that falls under this of saying like, hey, I didn't use any of my sick time hour this year. I want to sell X back. And I think that's literally what this is for. It's not someone who's going to go out on retirement. It's someone who's an employee who's got to,
It is for someone.
yeah.
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 It's also used for someone who is retiring
Oh, is
that
it?
has
Okay.
accrued
So it's both.
sick
Okay.
time. Yes.
So it's both.
Because in some jobs, I know for a fact that you're awarded 10 days a year, and if you don't use them, you lose them. They just go away. And in other jobs, you have the opportunity to buy them back if you don't use them.
Every policy is different.
Right.
Every company's
And
different.
I think that's why we're kind of
Well, I guess,
confused.
can we know the policy, you know?
Yeah, you need to know the policy to
I mean,
understand.
like, no one gets sick, but they're all buying, yeah, they're all selling back sick time, kind of like, all right, that's great.
Well, like I said, I will ask HR about that and
I
get.
mean, I can see accruing vacation, but accruing sick time seems kind of like you're planning, the longer you work, you're planning to get sicker or something like that.
I worked for a company that your sick time continually rolled over. I mean, we had
I
we
got
had
in a
people that were like, had
I think it's
thousands.
I think it's the opposite of my experience.
I
It's
got in
been
a situation
sick time
where
disappears.
I got in a situation where I was put on medical restriction. I couldn't lift more than 60 pounds because of a hernia, and I was out on sick time for 18 and a half months before they could get everything squared away.
Yeah,
I'd never
that
missed a
sounds like
day of work.
short-term disability.
No, it was not. I had
Okay.
never missed a day of work in
Yeah,
30
yeah.
years.
Yeah, that sounds extraordinary. It doesn't sound like the norm of I've encountered.
Thank God I had it.
Yeah, but besides the sick leave, and I'll get clarification from HR and make sure to give it back to the board. But it's the same amount as what was approved last year.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean-
year to date, nothing's been expended out. But again, this is a December expenditure, and they're asking for the same amount. So do we feel comfortable with going ahead and approving this and getting the talk?
I do.
Okay, then so would someone make a motion to approve the human resource budget?
I will approve it, but I would appreciate it if you could get a clarification. 'Cause I'm a
Absolutely.
little
So
confused.
Margaret made the motion to approve the budget. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Gerns. Is there any other discussion about anything else other than the sick leave buyback? And again, I'll get clarification. We'll bring it back to the board.
I just have one
Yeah.
simple question. Are any of the employees that would fall under this governed by a collective bargaining agreement, or are these strictly policy employees?
The sick leave part?
It's all employees, all probably full-time employees.
Including the police department.
That's what he's asking, if it was union.
If it's you.
Because
Well,
if it's-
there's a town hall union and there's a police union as well. so-
If they're under a collective bargaining agreement, we don't have much of a say in the matter.
Well,
No, I'll ask that question.
let's find the narrative. I mean, it's, I mean,
Yeah.
just saying collective bargaining doesn't make it like, oh, we can't talk about it.
No, but yeah. But I think to your point is that if the CBA says you're going to leave out this X amount of money for the buyback, then that's what he's saying we don't have a say in. I think that's what he was trying to get at.
Exactly.
So I'll go and I'll ask, how does that work? Get the specifications out of it, and then also ask about if the CBA that's included in that as well. Other than that, does anybody have any other questions about the human resource budget? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed
Opposed?
and abstained. 710. Okay. Planning. All right. 2023, it was approved for $102,696. Requested for 2024 is $109,429. This is an increase of $6,733, which is a 6.56% increase. And it looks like what's the RPC circuit rider?
That's a consultant from Rockingham, the Rockingham Commission that assists the planning board.
Okay.
So we're just breaking out, like normally, I mean, are we saying that, I mean, we got a separate RPC rider, circuit rider. And in past times, that was included in the one that was above, the engineering consultant fees and grants.
No, prior to the rider, we had a town employee or a planner that performed that role.
Okay.
We no longer have a planner.
Right, so if you look at the description, it says this was formerly included with the consultants and the engineers. So they've moved that to here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah,
one
yeah.
above is 10-310. It says consult engineering. I don't know if that's what it's talking about.
This is for grants.
Make a motion to approve the planning budget for $109,429.
A motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Doug. Does anybody have any questions about the planning budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed and abstained.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay,
You know what, I think I am too. I'm confused on a few things.
okay. So 602 then. Did you want to ask a question about it, Margot?
If everybody works in the town hall, item here.
Which one?
Specific supplies to planning department are not available in general supply, including 600 for ink and cartridges for plotter leased purchased in 2021. So are you saying that somebody from the planning board is here, they can't use the copy machine? Some of this isn't making sense to me.
Is the plotter a different type of copier machine?
It's a different type of machine that requires a specific ink cartridge.
It's equivalent to blueprints, right?
Yeah.
So do they contract that out, or do they have to go to Staples, or where
No,
do they?
we have the machine here. I don't know how long ago we bought it, but
2021, according to this.
So we just
Or
buy,
last
since
time,
it's a different
cartridge.
machine, they just buy the cartridge for it.
Gotta take bigger paper and what have you.
Did you have another question of something that you were, or was that really it, the main thing?
It's a learning curve.
No, you're fine.
I'm taking in a lot here.
No, you're
It's-
fine. Fine. All right. Next is zoning. 2023 approved was $5,150. Requested $5,350. Just an increase of $200, which is a 3.88% increase. Looks like that is in the notices and publications.
Make a motion to approve the zoning budget for $5,350.
Second.
By Jay, seconded by Ted. Anybody have any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed and abstained. 8-0. All right, general government buildings. 2023 approved was $381,870. Request for 2024 is $401,225. This is an increase of $19,355. This is a 5.07% increase. Looks like the permanent positions salary increased. Custodian overtime increased by $3,000. Looks like some buildings need some repairs and maintenance.
So just the vehicle maintenance, year-to-date, it's $84 out of a budgeted item of $3,000. Is it just that everything's working great, or?
Which line? Vehicle maintenance, the first page.
Yes. You talking about the first page, 660? The third one from the
Yep.
bottom?
Yeah.
So in the description, it just says, tune-ups and repairs on 2 snow blowers, tractor, truck will need additional work to maintain at current condition. Anthony, what was your question again about this line item?
Well, we've only spent, $84. So it's. We anticipate, is there some sort of scheduled maintenance that happens between 10/1 and 12/1, or,
Well, my 2 cents worth would be, according to how long the snow blowers run, is how often you change the oil. Are you using oil or synthetic oil? Is the tractor diesel or gas? That depends. A oil filter for a diesel tractor is a lot more money than a Wix filter for a gas tractor. I know I have one. And a general tune-up on a truck right now, depending what you do, whether it's just oil and rotating tires or whether it's oil, air filter, that can eat up $700-800 in a heartbeat.
And it could be they haven't scheduled the maintenance yet in preparation for the winter as
Yeah, and it
well.
looks like they know that the truck needs additional work.
Yeah, the truck needs work, so.
To maintain its current condition, it needs additional work than what it needed last
You
year.
guys do their own oil changes and stuff, or they send it out to Grand Rental, or do we have a contract for this, or how's it get done?
I believe they're done by an outside vendor.
Any idea if that outside vendor is a taxpayer, a local-based company like Grand Rental, or?
I believe we utilize local vendors for a lot of our maintenance.
Okay.
So If you want, I can get more clarification on,
Well, I understand maintenance well. I mean, like I said, it's just a difference in what filter you purchase. At Centers can be the difference between $18 or $38.
I guess my point is you've spent $84 year to date, so.
Well, I guess it means they're being conservative.
or there hasn't been any maintenance that was done to it yet. There might be expenditures not here yet. Or,
Would you like to get more clarification from that line item, see if there's anything that's in the
Yeah, I
future?
just,
Okay.
but they're leaving it at 3 in anticipation of work to be
Right.
done on the vehicle for next year.
And do you know on that specific, it says truck will need additional work to be maintained at current condition. What are we looking at on that? Are we looking at a new engine? Are we looking at a tranny? Are we looking at new tires?
I don't think it's anything significant like that, engine or transmission, so
I can get more clarification.
we can get more info.
yeah, I guess it would just, just be good to have a narrative. I mean, some of these numbers are just, there's no rhyme or reason. 2019, you almost have $8,000 for maintenance of whatever. And
Wait, which line item are you looking at?
same thing.
Same
Same
thing,
thing,
okay.
Yeah, so you go for 8,000 to 5,000, 2021, $143, then bang it up to 5,000. So I'm assuming, this, it's probably not being, totally expended, so it's just,
There's a good possibility too, that the reason why it was originally high and then started going down is because they probably had an older something that was requiring more
maybe.
maintenance, and then they
But
bought
you
a
can't,
new
we
one.
can't tell. It doesn't tell us what wasn't expended. Right, so I mean, if it's $5,000 being dumped back into the general fund, then you're just over budgeting. So I mean, you could go, if there's a maintenance schedule, that's one thing. If we're talking about like a snow blower, I mean, what are we saying? It's filter, this, that, spark plugs,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's, I understand kind of just in case, but I mean, we don't see what wasn't expended. And the only thing we have is, year to date, $84.
Like I said, that'll be something else that we can ask to get more clarification and bring back to see exactly what is. Besides that line item, is there any other questions about the general government buildings?
And same thing, I guess, would apply to the maintenance equipment. Same thing. You can't see it. I mean, they're kind of on schedule for expending that 2,500, but
Yeah.
I mean, something like that doesn't look like, it isn't like salary where you have like 1 quarter left or something like that. Items like that where you don't have something that's, oh, we've gone through 3/4 of what we're expended and we're on track to do the other one. But, I guess I'd be, a little suspicious if all of a sudden it's, there's a rat, we've had $86 worth of maintenance and now, we're going to do 2,800 and change worth of maintenance and leaf blowers, right to the end of the year to totally expend it. It's not exactly the hill that I want to like fight on, but it's like, I guess that's the logic, that if it's something that's not like contractually being expended, then it shouldn't all like just immediately evaporate towards the end of the year, because that's not a real number. It's just somebody expending it to, as they race to the end of the year.
Well, it appears as if they've been pretty conservative. They haven't spent it all.
Yeah, it's $84 out of many thousands. I mean, just,
I think she's talking about, are you talking about the second line item, Margot? The maintenance equipment?
Yeah, yeah.
And again, we can continue with discussion, but does someone want to make a motion to approve the general government buildings budget?
Make a motion, we accept the general government building budget at $401,225.
Motion made by Mr. Gerns. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Doug. Anybody have any other questions about the general government buildings? Seeing that there is none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And
hey,
are you abstaining or opposing?
what's that?
Are you opposing or abstaining?
Oppose.
Okay. 710. All right, cemeteries. No change. 2023 was 10,500. Requested this year is 10,500.
Make a motion to approve the cemetery's budget for $1,500.
I'll second.
Motion by Jay, seconded by Liz. Any discussion on the cemeteries? Budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 8-0. Advertising and / regional association. It's decreased. So 2023, it was 26,000 was approved. This year, it is only 25,500, which is a decrease of $500, which is a decrease of negative 1.92%. And the town report expense is what came down, the $500.
I'll make a motion to accept.
The advertising budget.
Yep, sorry.
You're fine.
Second.
Motion made by Doug, seconded by Ted. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 8-0. All right. Cable went down as well. 2023 approved was 36,900. 2024 request is 36,100. Decrease of $800, which is negative 2.17%.
Make a motion to approve cable for $36,100.
Motion by Doug. Do I have a second? I mean, not Doug, Jay, sorry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Liz. Does anybody have any questions about cable? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 800. All right. Conflict of interest. It's staying the same at $250, which was approved for 2023, and it's the same for this year of 2024, again, of $250.
This might sound petty, but is there a reason why they have to have a PO box versus getting their mail here at the,
Anonymity.
at
That's a good question.
at the town hall? Well, I know for a fact that PO box rents are going up.
Jay, do you know the answer to that question?
I would say to keep things confidential.
That's what Richard
Yes,
said.
Probably.
it's a confidential issue.
And we may have to increase that because, as you said, the prices for PO boxes has gone up, so we might
Well,
actually
they
have to
haven't yet,
adjust
but they're
this.
going up.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, I mean,
No, it's a good question.
I handle thousands and thousands and thousands of letters a day, and you don't pay attention to what somebody's penmanship is or what the return address is. You just get it in the right postal place.
Right, but I think the concern is that if it's mailed here and there's a conflict of interest with an employee here, they may go in, not that I'm saying an employee would do that, but, you know, there's that confidentiality piece. It's there, they're getting that mail, and they're handling it, and they're going to the board as needed.
Notice,
That's what I would imagine that would be for.
Can I get a motion to approve the conflict of interest budget for $250?
sure, I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Margot, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Anthony. Any discussion on conflict of interest budget? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained, 800. Right. Other general government. 2023 approved was $325,000. 2024 request is $290,000. This is a decrease of $35,000, which is a negative 10.77% decrease. So computer internet went down, and also the MS4 storm water, SSI, PFAS. That's just a bunch of alphabet soup right there.
Jay, just a question. On the computer/internet and other sort of IT infrastructure, do we have service contracts? I mean, how do we manage
Yeah,
that
there
book of
is a service
business?
contract with SE, Systems Engineering,
Okay,
handles all of our IT. And that's part of this line here.
okay. We haven't, we'll get to it, but why is the police department that has various IT assets and things like that? And I think in the presentation that we had of the police, it was put forward that they were going to be purchasing service contracts and such to maintain what they have. How is it that
That was for.
two separate books of business there?
That was for additional, for the software that they're looking to purchase. So for the, I think it was for the cameras, right, is what you're referring to? The camera system?
I think it was generically put out there that we're
think it was
going to
more
have service contracts for everything because a lot of stuff may be lapsed, they don't have the software or don't know how to turn it on or something like that.
It wouldn't be covered under the contract we have with the systems engineering. They would advise, but also the contract would be negotiated and paid through the police budget for the camera system.
Can I get a motion to approve the other general government budget of $290,000?
Make a motion to approve the OGG budget for $290,000.
Got a motion to have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Anthony. Any other discussion on this budget?
A good question.
Yep.
What are we're waiting on next steps for PFSA, AS, and the PFOA being not included. What is that all about? I know it has to do with stormwater, but what are the next steps?
So part of that was we had a study done through Sanborn Head. Right now, through a grant, we're hooking up some of the affected residents in town to the water system. So for the most part, there's ongoing activities, but at this point, there's still some additional steps that need to be done, but that's why you see the decrease. It's not, a lot of the heavy lifting has already been done. So that's why you see the reduction with,
Yeah, it was a significant reduction.
related to that.
Thank you.
Any other questions about other general government? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. 8-0. Next is police. The 2023 approved for police / ACO was $2,376,203. The 2024 request is $2,480,815. This is an increase of $104,612, which is a 4.4% increase.
I will say, I thought the chief did a good job explaining the police budget.
Yeah.
And walking through it the other night.
No, I'll just go down my initial, let's see, the uniforms. I understand in the police chief's presentation that you have, for whatever reason, have a disparate assortment of uniforms and people aren't uniform. But again, year-to-date expenditure is $9,500 out of a budget for $30,000, and then we're asking for $56,000. I mean, is that? Seems quite a bit. Or at least without a narrative apart from saying that everyone just bought their own uniforms and they're not uniform.
I think the increase is because, yes, they were, but there was no like parameters. So you've got people that have like different uniforms. So they did, so like, while yes, they do say Plastow Police, but like their emblem and like the design and everything. So it's not uniform.
Yeah,
Uniform.
I mean, that's what he said. But like I said, you have year-to-date expenditure is out of a $30,000 uniform allotment is $9,500. I mean, it's 20. You could buy 20,000, what's the holdup of buying $20,000 worth of uniforms before the end of the year, before you ask for 56,000 for uniforms for next year?
Say the holdup might be turning it around, getting it. It could be staffing issue.
Yeah, because they're down 5 positions.
Right, they're down some positions, so they're,
I mean, is it
could be,
an
needs to do an
annual?
analysis of what,
Yeah.
how they're gonna uniform the
Is
officers.
is it an annual stipend for a uniform, or is it just, somebody's outfitted with a uniform when they come on board? And
The police department outfits them,
do they outfit them annually?
not annually, but
I would think they would
as,
outfit them as needed.
right, as, they're chasing someone through the woods and their pants get ripped. They'll replace the pants.
Yeah,
But
well,
they
yeah.
give them, I don't know exactly how many a new person would get. Maybe they get 2 uniforms,
Every year. We used,
not every year, but
we used to get 3 when you were hired, and this is going back a long time. You used to get 3 uniforms, but you've also got your vest, you've got your weapon belt,
Yeah.
you've got your boots, you've got. And you didn't necessarily get a new uniform issued every year.
Right, so what we're saying is we don't know what goes into this number, how uniforms are outfitted. In terms of like your initial issue, replacement, how much you're gonna have on, and things like that.
Well, again, there's CBA governed employees, so that in itself, how the article for uniforms is written is going to determine
Yeah,
what.
but we don't know that, right? I mean, we're assuming that. You can just say that.
So what I'm hearing is that you would like to have more clarification of how they came up to the 56,000.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that's like, an initial outlay because everyone's showing up in a different uniform, okay. But, again, you've expended 9,000 out of 30,000, so.
So I just want to jump in here. I understand what you're saying, but I also think the chief's been here 5 months.
Yeah.
And I think that some of these purchases may have been ordered. They came in, he saw what was going on, he stopped it and said, this is what we're going to do, but we're going to try and get all on board. Like, that's
Yeah,
how I
mean-
would think.
I mean, that narrative, if that were the case, sounds great. I mean,
Right.
but I didn't hear that.
Right, and I didn't either,
Right.
but in my head, I'm thinking maybe.
Yeah, there could be
he's
any
trying
number
to
of-
Align everything to be uniform, so had to cancel orders, had to say,
Maybe.
who knows? So,
Right.
that's a question maybe we ask.
And I mean, in all reality, if we are in fact, I believe you said we're down 5 officers at this time. I don't think it's unrealistic to, just with the vest alone, I don't think it's unrealistic.
Well,
we'd
do you
be
know that
looking at
that's included in
3,000.
that?
Pardon me?
yeah,
I mean, does that include that in there? All right, so I mean, is it, so what is it that's going to, I mean, I assume that, is it like they have no more vests? Like if someone were to be hired, we don't have a vest to give them?
No,
It's to be
it's-
fitted.
we would outfit,
Okay.
if someone was hired tomorrow, we would outfit them with.
Yeah, I'd like a narrative, around
So
that.
we can, would you like the police chief to come back in?
I would like a narrative around it. Like I said, you've expended 9,000, you have $20,000 expended, right? That you haven't expended, and then you're asking for more.
Okay, so I will ask and get more clarification of how they came to this number. Talk about, it's only, so far you've only expended, as of, this.
I mean, that's not
Brenda's
an
report.
insignificant number.
Yeah.
That's,
So I'll get more clarification about that and then bring it back here. But other than that, is there any other questions about the police budget?
So if we have 18 officers and we're down 5, right? So we have 13, we'll just call it 13. They all have different uniforms.
They might.
Hear me out, just, a couple of them have the same uniform, a couple of these have a different uniform or, have stripes in their pants and those don't. So we're looking to outfit everyone to make it a uniform department. And there's a cost obviously to that, but it would be good to have him speak to that a little more and get you more clarity on what's entailed in the uniform, right?
I mean, is it a
You
big
get
collection,
top,
is it a big
pants.
collection of uniforms, so it's like everyone turns around and turn in your uniforms, and then they're being reissued a set of uniforms that are, you know, a one-time turn-in? Or, you know,
I honestly don't know how the uniform turnaround goes, so it'd be better to have that clarification from,
I mean, I don't know if he has to come in, but it
ask that
sounds like it sounds like there
Get it
should be,
answered,
should
but-
be a narrative that surrounds it.
I mean, just a vest, I mean,
I don't.
you gotta
know.
be fitted for a vest, that's a,
So they have vests that they're not fitted with? I mean, that's different now.
well, that would be
It's
part
part
of the
of the
uniform. You wouldn't put them in on the street without having.
I assume they have
Vest.
vests now. We're not saying that someone bought the wrong color vest? Okay.
Each vest is very tailored to each individual.
So they don't have tailored
so
vests right now?
rather than speculate on
Let's not speculate.
what we think it should be,
Well, that's
then
what I'm saying.
let's
Don't
get-
speculate.
let's get clarification from the
Okay.
police chief.
Like I stated. So I will ask him, how did he come to that number? What's entailed in the uniform? Why is it set at just 9,000 when they're asking for 56? And I'll bring it back to the board. So other than that line item, is there anything else he wants to talk about, the police budget?
Okay,
And
there's,
just to add to that, there could be potential new hires that happen before the end of the year, so we may expend more of that as well. We do have someone in the academy now, but I don't think they're going to be here by the end of the year. So,
it was mentioned that the antenna on top of the building could not, that, I think what, the number, I don't know where it's in here, but $7,000 was going to be used to rent a special kind of lift for somebody to access the antenna.
because it's unsafe to climb the antenna,
What, I guess that's
Normally they
one
would-
is what happened.
they would attach themselves
To
with
the-
a safety line and
Up.
scale the antenna.
Yep.
The antenna is not safe enough for someone to climb it.
Is that something that can be fixed?
That's what getting the special apparatus so that they can get up high enough to fix the antenna.
Yeah, I think the special apparatus, if I remember, was that you're going to rent
type of
something
lift.
so that some can go up and do maintenance on the antenna every 2 years. It wasn't to fix the antenna so that someone could scale up it. So it wasn't like, it wasn't being presented as a one-time fix.
Then if that's your understanding, we can get clarification
Yeah,
on that
that's
again.
my understanding. Because I mean, if
But
it was
if-
something that someone,
If it's annual maintenance that needs to be done and it's unsafe to climb it and there's no way of fixing that, then we would need the lift.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was said that there was no way it could be fixed. It was just left that a special lift every 2 years had to be rented at the cost of $7,000 because the antenna apparatus suddenly was unsafe.
I don't think it was suddenly. I think it has to get, the tower itself has to get inspected and deemed whether or not it's safe or not. So it got deemed unsafe, so
In the process of becoming deemed unsafe, there's guide wires that are unsafe.
we don't,
Runs.
they didn't really go into that. We just know that from what we were presented is that it's unsafe for an individual to climb it, but the antenna that's on top of it still has to be maintained for the radio usage and everything that's going on. So the quick fix right now is to rent a special machine for $7,000 to be able to repair it. But I think eventually, long-term, I'm assuming they're probably going to look at fixing it so we don't have to rent it.
And that cost will be incorporated into the CIP,
Correct.
so we plan for it.
Yes.
Correct.
Can't use the lift on the fire truck instead of
Too tall.
renting $7,000 for a special lift.
Too tall.
Okay.
It's too tall.
No, the,
The ladder.
Yeah, I guess I'd want to know what it is that, I mean, because that's a relative, we're still paying a bond, right, on that. I mean, what is it on on the tower that needs, I mean, how much is it going to cost to fix? Why are we renting a $7,000 lift? Would it cost less to just fix it? I mean, should it be broken? I mean, is there a ham radio operator in the house that can talk
You're not
about?
just paying for the machine, you're paying for the technician and the related insurance to do the work, as well as whatever supplies he needs. So 7,000 on one level is steep because you got to use a special device instead of sending a guy up to climb the tower. But I suspect that you would need, if it was safe enough to climb, you would have to have hire somebody to climb it. And that's going to cost, that's expensive too. Not expensive as the $7,000, but on the other hand, it's, it works, it, for the safety of the people around, around the property or the tower is, coupled with the need for it to be reliable, this is an investment you need to make with the understanding that you're going to have to replace the tower and plan for it. Once you replace the tower, then, you've got, replacing the tower it's complex. You've got to know a lot of stuff. It's got to take a lot of research to price it out and be safe. So, what I'm getting at, I guess, is they are being proactive in the sense they know they've got to do maintenance on the tower, and this is the only way they can do it.
Right. Until it's fixed.
And if you look at the budget on the communications tower, it's budgeted for $10,000. That was less than half what we budgeted for last year. So I think maybe we can get more clarification, but we could be potentially getting it within this budget year to do the maintenance that's needed. And then we don't have to do it for 2 more years. And maybe that's why you're not seeing it in this line here. There's no description talking about that, but
Yeah, I'd like.
we can get a little more detail on
A little
that.
more narrative about the
Yeah.
tower.
Yeah.
Just sort of what's going on at the tower.
Okay, other than the
Why did it
tower
break?
and-
We got to get Rapunzel out of the tower.
Right.
With a uniform
Yeah, in her uniform.
and a vest.
Other than uniforms and the tower, are there any other questions about the police budget?
Just a question.
Yep.
There seems to be a number of concerns on 2 or 3 topics. I might offer the idea that we table this until we can meet with them and get the answers that we need, rather than trying to vote it and then have to re-vote it for the new number.
New number for what?
Well, in other words, if they come out with more information that's going to change the bottom line, we would have to re-vote it.
I don't think any of our questions are going to change. I think really I'm going to ask them about this 56,000 and they're going to say, I need 56,000 because of X, Y, Z. And then the tower, which like what Jay said, it's not even, it might be coming from this year. It's just clarification of what's the plan. Other than those 2 things, neither of those 2 things really, I don't think are going to affect.
Okay, just asking.
No, I see what you're saying, but I don't think any of those 2 questions are going to
Good
really
thought.
affect the bottom dollar of the budget, other than, no, we don't like that. We want you to cut it back to 30,000 for the uniforms. I mean, that's the only thing, but
Okay.
that's just my 2 cents. It's what the majority though.
So you want to table it?
You want to table it or
That would take a motion, and I have, since the feeling is that it's just information, that will probably not change the numbers, then I think we can proceed.
do you want to
I
make?
was just concerned, it sounded like there was going to be
No, it was a good question.
It was an excellent
financial
question.
impact on,
Excellent question.
It was a good question, but me hearing what people are wanting, it sounds like really we just want clarification of why this number. And then what are you going to do as a plan? And to me, that doesn't seem like it's going to really change the bottom dollar. It's just why. But does someone want to make a motion to approve the police
Well,
budget?
just the canine office for one. I mean, the canine supplies. that's, I understood there was something said that somebody wanted to just keep the line item open. And I guess, why does it have to be kept open $2,000 as opposed to just staying like one? I mean, is there a dog that's imminent that we have to buy dog food for? and
So there
stuff?
is a intern that's working on getting information for restarting the K-9 program through the Plastow PD. So that's most likely why we're keeping money in that line
For the canine supplies.
for K-9 supplies and potential K-9 program.
Yeah, they're just penciling it in just to be on just with the idea that they're gonna reactivate the service.
Right.
And better to have the money in case they do it, and if they don't do it, then it doesn't get spent.
But it sounds like they're trying to get it back, is from what it
Yeah.
sounds like, so.
Yeah.
And after that, we can bring back mounted police officers.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the police budget for $2,603,057?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Liz. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Gerns. Are there any more questions about the police department's budget? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
And abstained. 710. And we'll get questions to those two items on that to bring it
Okay.
back to the board. All right. Fire. 2023 approved was $969,130. 2024 request is $1,534 $1,534,503. This is an increase of $565,373, which is a 58.43% increase. Now, the reason for the big increase is because of the ambulance service that Plastow is going to. Chief Knutson was here at our joint meeting talking about that. I believe that him, along with Mr. Coy, have made a video about that that's being run. I really highly encourage people to watch that. It's got a lot of really good information. Even though this is going up, on the conservative side, they're estimating with billing that it's going to regenerate about $400,000. Again, that's on the conservative side, that would just go back into the general fund to help offset taxes.
Same line of, I mean, this is, I understand the whole presentation on the ambulance service and such, but just sort of the same line of questioning. I mean, it's, the budget itself is, it's almost de minimis, but have to ask. Last page, 20-740. All right, so where you have 24,400 budgeted for fire department equipment, and almost half is expended in 2023. And then you have 28,000 that's being asked. guess, if we're identifying, is this number that we're asking for, is that for forecasted, all loose equipment, et cetera, nozzles, pikes, poles and such? Or is this something that should be, if there are these things that need to be bought, I would think that you would be using whatever's remaining for 2023, right?
So, like, I know they just got I think it's, they just got a bunch of new hose that they just put in, and I don't know if they've already paid for that, or if they're waiting on invoices on things as well. You know, like with the new ladder that's coming in, they'll have to buy equipment for it. Not 100% sure. I could ask. We can get that
And the same
clarification.
type of logic will apply to 20-630.
Yeah, I
You know,
think
again,
the hose
that's-
came in recently, so
Yeah, they
it
just
may
put it
not
on the
have
truck
been,
yesterday.
you know, the actual may not have been up to date at this point, but we can get information.
What was your other one, Anthony? You said the top one, the equipment maintenance? Is that what you're,
Yeah,
okay.
20-630, the top one, last page.
Yep.
And I guess maybe for the training also,
What about it?
the same thing. It's about $4,000 or $3,000, $10. There's going to be training that's going to go to the end of the year.
Well, training's ongoing throughout the year, right?
It is.
So they expend it probably evenly throughout the year for training.
Yeah.
So you probably, it looks like you'd be on track to
Spend it out.
expend most of that 17,000.
And the same logic for the medical services. It looks like that's new hire, medical physicals. So it's an $18,000 line item, 2023, and only 2,900 was expended.
It's the, what line item are you looking at?
It's going to be 10-350.
I think it says new hire and required annual physicals.
Yeah.
The year's almost over, right?
They don't do it till like, I believe, December. It's towards the end of the year whenever they do it.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what I mean. That would be a good narrative that,
Yeah.
oh, wait, we're doing all our medical exams
Yeah, I
for
can ask
everyone
him. I can ask
at the
for
end
that.
of the year.
Yeah. Other than those three line items for questions, does anybody
Yeah, that's
else?
fine.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the fire department budget?
I'll
for-
make that motion to approve the fire department.
I'll
budget.
second it.
Motion by Liz, seconded by Mr. Anthony. Any other discussion on the fire department budget?
I'll second it.
Sorry, I didn't second it.
You can third it.
You can third it, though. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and then I will be abstaining. So 7-0. Building inspection. No, inspections. Yeah, building inspections. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yep, okay. So 2023, it was approved for $139,664. 2024, it's requested for $185,850. Increase of $46,186, which is 33.07%. So it looks like some of this is coming from the position is increased for the salary. And then nice septic backup. Backup inspector.
New vehicle lease.
Yeah, the vehicle lease, is that a new, I mean, were we paying maybe mileage of some kind? Were we doing that before?
Paying mileage of some kind, but we've had, in the past, we've had a vehicle for the building inspector. I think there was some maintenance issues with that, so we're looking to get a vehicle for those inspections.
Instead of buying the vehicle, you're just going to lease the vehicle.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Oops.
There's also potential that we might repurpose two of the police vehicles that are going to be replaced as well. Still kind of up in the air at the moment.
If the police vehicles weren't going to be repurposed, what would happen to them?
We'd sell them off. So to repurpose them, we'd have to fix them to bring them up to pass inspection. And then we could repurpose them. So after the last meeting, we took action to get 2 new vehicles. So 2, yeah.
You know how much it would cost that you would potentially get if you were to sell the vehicles?
I've seen in the past, we've gotten around $4,000. But depends on the condition of the vehicle as well. You know, we have vehicles that we don't like to run them over 100,000 because then you start to get into significant maintenance issues. And that's what we're dealing with these 2 vehicles that we're going to be replacing. So for the use that the police gets out of them, you know, we bought a vehicle 2 years ago. It already has almost 35,000, 40,000 miles on it. So the life of them goes very quickly.
Someone want to make a motion to approve the building inspection budget for $185,850?
I'll make a motion to approve the inspections budget for $185,850.
Motion to have a second. Seconded by Ted. Is there any questions or discussion about the inspections?
Just that the inspections department, they bring in revenue
That's right.
through permits and such, so.
What's the logic for, let's say, on the electrical consulting, plumbing, and, yeah, those, we'll say those 2 there. The last 2, 40308 and 309. Plussing them up 4,000 and 5,000 respectively.
It's an employee issue. Like most businesses, it's hard to get employees to come work for you, so it's to entice having these consultant plumbers and electricians
I mean, are they
able to
working,
do additional inspections for us.
are they working, let's say, as part-time, like do they have other jobs and then they're just?
They have other
coming-
jobs, it would be like a contractor position, so
Okay.
it'd be on top of their regular.
Kind of when it fits in their schedule.
They're not, definitely not full-time positions there, because you don't always have a plumbing inspection that's needed, right? So,
So are they, do we have a contract with them that if we call up and say that, hey, if we say that we have to have an inspection, then they do the inspection, then we pay them for the time that they,
yeah, they're a contractor with the
Okay.
town, they're,
so they're not being paid piecework then? It's being, we're contracting with them for this amount.
yes.
Any other questions about the inspections? Yep.
The seminars, I've noticed, there's been $145 spent in 6 years. Do we really need a $900 budget for that?
Training and conference?
I'd have to go back to that department and find out if they're planning on using it.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Because it's been not budgeted for at all. Well, it was budgeted $75.
Right, and then it jumps up
So we can
quite a
ask,
bit.
we can ask that question. Any other questions?
I have another one.
Yep.
The cell phone, did his service plan go up? Or is that for the inspector and other people, or is that just for the inspector?
The description says cell phone for inspector.
Right. So did the plan go up that much? I can't, my plan didn't go up that much.
Have to find out
Yep.
the detail. Might have been a replacement phone potentially, I don't know. We'd have to
It's-
find out.
Yep. Good questions. Any other questions on the inspections? Right. All those in favor say aye
Aye.
and abstain. Okay. It is 8:20. Is everybody doing good to keep trucking along?
All right, can we have 5 minutes to hit the bathroom?
We need to.
Is that all right?
Yeah. Take the bathroom.
I'm an old lady.
Okay.
Pausing, and finishing next week and after.
No, I was just, we've got looking after, so we've got counting the one we're getting ready to do. Got 13 left.
We haven't voted on
What have you not voted on?
patriotic cultural yet.
So none, so we got 12.
So other than this, we're gonna have to re-meet to vote on that one anyways.
Yeah, so,
So we're gonna have to re-meet at some point. So why push through to come
Right.
back for one meeting?
that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So, say we do emergency management and highway, and then we can, or we can stop now. It's whatever. We'll wait till people come back.
Yeah, depends on, yeah.
So then, Jay, you also said that November the 7th, even though it says like election day, you don't think the town hall closes on that day, do you? Okay.
Checking the calendar.
Yeah.
Yep, it's
Open?
open.
Okay, cool. How's your mouth?
Oh, that's right, talk to me.
So we've got 12 left. The Board of Selectmen have not yet voted on the patriotic/cultural budget yet. So do we want to do one more emergency management, and then the rest of them we can do at our next meeting? That way we're not here late. We can just do it that way. Is that everybody agreeable to do one more? Sure. Okay. Next one is, let's see, so emergency management, 2023 approved was 32,550. 2024 request is 37,225. It's a difference of 4,675, which is a 14.36% increase. Looking at it, big jump is in equipment purchase.
So is that particular item an item that the Emergency Management Department itself has never actually had within the department? Have they relied on like Public Works for barriers and stuff? Is it new or is it replacement? Do you know?
I don't know that, but I do know that like barriers, when Dan was in here, they said the barriers and like the cones and stuff were the highway department uses versus what emergency management uses, like it's two separate types.
Okay.
So that's why, yeah. But I can get clarification on that line item for you, Margot.
Well, no, it's just, for a long time, emergency management was kind of put on the back burner and hadn't been utilized and was just kind of there. And it appears that they're working hard to develop a lot of different strategies for when it is needed. And if we don't have the proper equipment, we need to ascertain it and reasonably slowly, not all at once. But if you look at the budget in general, hasn't had a whole lot of budgeting and
Any other questions about emergency management?
Yeah, I just, again, looking at the the actuals versus what they budgeted for, and then what they're asking for. I'd like a little more narrative on that. It's, I mean, is it just that they, because I mean, these comments, I mean, are these comments new or are they dropped in from, is this just like a working document? And this is like from last year or something? I mean, is this,
I think all of these get changed. I mean, I think some of them are
Well-
the same, but I think some of these like this gets changed. But if you look at this year's, so they budgeted for 6,000 for this year, but they're actually already, year to date, it's
right, so
8,377.24.
is it, did they purchase emergency management equipment, barriers, barricades, and road signs, and then, 2024, you're gonna purchase more barriers, road signs, and things like that? Like, then what
I'll
happened?
get you clarification
Yeah.
for sure. Mhm.
I mean, if it's just a reaction that, okay, we built it, it's not like an expendable thing that once you bought them, they're not used up unless something, they get run over
Right.
or destroyed or something, So that shouldn't just be reflexively, increased to reflect something that would be a one-time periodic purchase. Again, it's, in the grand scheme, it's not.
Right. But yeah, I'll get clarification for that line item for sure. Does someone want to make a motion to approve the emergency management budget of $37,225?
I will.
Motion by Ted. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Margot. Any other questions about the emergency management budget? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
And abstain. Me. So 611. All right, that is our final budget tonight. So again, we'll have 12, counting that patriotic and cultural, which the Board of Selectmen still need to vote on. Looking at calendars, let's go ahead and set a next meeting date. So next week is Halloween. I don't think anyone wants to be here on that day. So does November the 7th?
I didn't hear what you said.
No, I said, I'm looking at November the 7th, but I'm getting, please no from Charlene down there. Is everybody okay with November 7th, or do you want to do November the 14th?
I won't be in the 14th.
Okay, so it sounds like November the 7th then. Everybody good with that?
Works for
Sounds
me.
good for me.
Okay, so November 7th at 6:30 here will be our next meeting. Where are you, what's the timeline for the warrant articles? Because that'll be, after we pass all these, that'll be the next thing that we're waiting on.
Yeah, the warrant articles, we're still working through the CIP.
Okay.
We actually haven't had a meeting yet.
Okay.
November.
So that will be coming up, I believe, very soon,
Okay,
in November, possibly.
okay,
Try to get that finalized, and then that will kind of dictate what we put into the warrants,
right.
for the warrants. So,
All right, because once we finish this, then really the only thing else we have to do is the warrants. All right,
I'm thinking the warrants probably won't be until late November or December
okay,
timeframe, because we have until, I think, January, first week in January, mid-January, to get the warrant in,
right,
so.
okay,
November 16th and December 14th, so CIP meetings,
Those are set in stone.
until someone changes.
Those are the proposed dates, right?
Just to be clear, email,
Yeah.
that's what it says.
all right. Does anybody have any new business or old business they need to talk about?
Just a curiosity, do we, school board, do we have any thoughts on the subject or the
What about?
potential impact that it's going to have on the average taxpayer here in Plastow?
For this coming?
Forecasted, yes, a forecasted impact.
As far as warrants, no. Obviously, we'll have our operating budget as a
Well, I mean,
warrant.
when it's kicked back to us, I mean, for the tax rate, right? I mean,
I don't know. We're still working on, we have like 8 more budgets to go through. So we'll do, I think, 4 this week and then 4 in 2 more weeks. And then we'll have a conversation about everything and approve everything as we wrap up. Because what we're doing this year is we're accepting budgets for review, and then we will meet at the end to discuss concerns and issues that we see as we're reviewing them. Because there are some days we don't get the budget until the day of the meeting. So we can't really review it. I usually try and sneak in and look and see if it's under the school board documents. So,
But you're talking about the tax rate.
the
Yeah,
tax
I'm
rate.
talking about the
So,
tax rate.
yeah, we asked this year to have a running tab of last year to this year, just for our own purposes. We won't know what that is, but it'll be interesting. The tax bills are coming out December 1st?
I think so.
Yeah, so,
So I don't think we know just yet, but that's not from the board or whatever. I think that comes down from the state. So,
yeah, so we submit everything just like.
So you've already submitted it to the state then?
yeah, and I've not heard whether or not it's come out yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you just, I mean, do you know what it would be if the state went along with it, or, I mean,
No,
just, no?
No, it will be a while. I think we'll get it on the first. Or right around Thanksgiving. That's usually when it comes out.
but besides the tax rate, I do know that this year that we'll have the warrant article for our operating budget. We'll have, fingers crossed for a TTA warrant article because we're in negotiations with them. And then our IT department is part of a union that we're having to negotiate with. So that's at least 3. And it's been expressed that it's needs and not wants. I mean, so that's where we're at with that. I will ask about that though, about when we know.
I mean, I assume that the Board of Selectmen are gonna, when they get that information, they'll be deciding if they
Yes,
buy down that tax rate,
Once
if
we,
it's possible.
once we, thinking we might have some information Monday. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be on the agenda yet, so,
Keep tuned.
yeah.
Anything else?
Jay?
Oh, Jay,
I
sorry.
just want to point out with the budget this year, it's a little daunting, the percent increase that we're looking at. But it's due to a few things. Costs have gone up, health insurance. So if we look at what the increase is overall, we break it down into 2 pieces. Year over year, it's up 3.44%. But once we add in the ambulance service, which will have offsetting revenue, well, not 100% offsetting revenue, but we'll have a conservative revenue amount that will help offset in the tax rate. It brings the increase up another 6.2%. So you're looking at a 9% increase in the town's budget this year. And it had to be said, but it's just, I think the plan that we have in place for the ambulance service is a good plan. And people are going to be shocked at the increase, that percentage increase. So I'm just going to point out the elephant in the room. It's a big increase. But
The initial investment is large, but long-term projective,
right,
it's worth the investment.
yes.
Well, just put it out there. I mean, I know that I'm not getting 10% increases, okay? And I don't know anyone who's getting 10% annual increases year over year. And the argument that something is essential or we have to do it or we're going to make an investment, I mean, at some point you're putting everyone else out of business. It's great to have, but when everything becomes a need and you have budgets that go from being relatively baseline to 10%, 10%, 10%, And then it's put off that like, oh, the school, when that thing lands, it's going to be, you're going to hear it.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And it's going to be the same argument that it's, oh, we need it, we need it, we need it, we need it. And, I'll take, conceptually, any money that's remitted from the school back. But I'm also going to put out that I remember the rhetoric that went around asking for that money. And it was all the buildings falling down, the kids are going to freeze during the winter. Oh my God, you're against kids, you hate teachers and things like that. Give us the money. And then you're kicking back 1.6 million that you didn't spend that was appropriated. So, the same way too, with budgets like this, it's like you need, but then when you look at the audited financials from the year, you're going to see consistently that it's over budgeted by in the realm of $200,000+ every year. It's just
Would you rather we spend the exact amount we budget? I don't think.
not necessarily, but it's like, I don't think, if that's going to be the flow of how we handle budgets, where you build in something, a surplus is generated, and then you use it then to come back and buy down the tax rate. Then that's sort of, kind of has to be said out loud a little bit.
But the thing with the ambulance as well, though, is that right now, this Plastow, along with the other towns that are using the current ambulance service, you're not paying anything for that service to be here. And come March, that service is then now going to start charging the town. So regardless whether this gets done or it doesn't, which it needs to, because they, again, at the meeting, and then also what's been stated is that this is actually the cheapest and it's going to give us the best bang for our buck.
Yeah.
So
I would say that something like that falls into a legitimate category of need.
oh, absolutely.
So it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But everything else, it's,
Well, everything else is at 3.4, right? And that a lot of that isn't, I would say most of that were contractual obligations and increases in what we pay for insurance, liability, those types of things. So
Salary, employee benefits, health insurance.
well,
right, there are CBAs that, that are in place that cause the salaries to go up, but
it's,
it's,
I guess the next question I would ask is how many people here aren't necessarily paying, there has to be a number where somebody's tax obligations are being either paid or there's a subsidy. There's a line item there that would show that how much are we, the Board of Selectmen, in terms of tax bills, are people not being, because you're going to have a lot of populations can make that argument. You're going to have people that Plastow is going to become expensive to live in. All right, so how many people are staying in Plastow because their tax bill is being subsidized in some sense by
Well,
some
the only-
calculations?
the only folks that, other than having your assessment abated, other folks like seniors and military get a subsidy on their tax bill, right? So we actually saw a tremendous increase in the amount of military abatements that we give to Plastow residents. It almost doubled in the
Are you
past year.
saying the amount of people who applied, who were
Yes.
eligible for it and applied, it almost doubled?
The amount,
Yeah, it went from
Almost double.
500 to 750.
yeah, so the amount increased. We went from 500 to 750. We've had more people also sign up for it because I think it's opened up more to not just, I think, wartime serving veterans, but I think all military veterans at this
You're
point.
either a veteran or you're not.
Right, you're a
That's
veteran or
the-
you're not, but, so we've seen a tremendous increase in that just because of the amount has gone up and we have more people signing up for it,
Okay.
so.
Next meeting is 11/7. You all have the budgets that are left over, so if there's any questions, please shoot me an email and I'll see if we can get those answers for next time, and I'll get the answers for this. I'm going to adjourn us at 8:40. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.